Hey, hello friends. Thank you for joining me again today. I am doing one of the things that I really enjoy in my painting career, which is tackling a finished painting on a subsequent day. I call it day two, but it could be as this one, 4 or 5 days later. You can go back and watch me doing this painting last week, Daily Art Adventure number 458 or 57, I think. I think it was 458, and you can see me do each stage. I'm pretty happy with the painting, but obviously it's still in my possession. That means it's fair game. When is a painting finished? The answer is when it's sold. Right, right. So this is not sold yet, which means I can do whatever I want to it. And what I want to do to it is add another layer of glaze. Without any more explanation, I'm just going to go ahead and get to it. You can tell me what you think about it. I'm doing some oxide red, some Indian yellow, and a little bit of some kind of orange. I don't even know what orange it is. Okay, mark it, set, go. Now, of course, I gave some thought to this before I started. Oh, let me point out one other thing. If the painting is entirely done in a fast dry paint and so forth, then it's okay to do this final glaze with a fast dry liquid medium. If, however, there's any part of this painting, and if you're not sure, you better be safe rather than sorry. If there's any part of the painting that, and not is it still wet? That's not the question. The question is there any part of the painting that was done in a slow dry, that is like straight out of the tube, regular paint? If so, then you better not use liquid, because you sure don't want fast dry liquid on top of a slow dry underpainting. In that case, my favorite, there's many you can use. My favorite is this weird name stuff called Neo McGilp. One of the worst marketing decisions ever made in the art field, I would say. But anyway, and I'm assuming that there's a Neo McGilp, that there's used to be an old-fashioned McGilp. But I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just assuming, because Neo means new. So I'm assuming that's the case. But even though it has a funny name, I love the way it feels, the way it plays, and that's my favorite. That's my go-to medium for if I need a slow dry, which absolutely you must do if you're not positive that everything was done in fast dry. In this painting, I'm confident everything was done either with a little bit of liquid in it, or it was all the whites were alkyd, fast dry titanium white. Okay, so you see, and by the way, this is too much. I don't know if you can tell. You're getting a bad glare. I'm going to try to move you so you get a little bit less glare, perhaps. Let's see what I can do about that. Not quite that much. Okay, now you're still getting glare, but it's a little bit further off to the side of the painting. So the first layer I did was all warm, and I picked up some clean brushes. I often do this with the same dirty brushes, but I decided today I want clean. And I've got, at the moment, pure ultramarine blue on me. So part of this painting that I felt I actually needed could use a little bit of color reinforcement was in fact the blues, the cool parts of the painting. So that's what I'm doing right now. And of course, I want these glazes to mix. I don't try to keep a firm dividing line between them. Not at all. That would be counterproductive, a horrible mistake, whatever word you want to use there. Now, let's, and I can go back and forth as many times. I can add as many colors as I want to this glaze. So again, forgive me if you've heard this before, but the terminology is a little bit confusing. If you call it one glaze, in my mind, that means it's all done at the same time, everything's wet, but it's several different colors. Some people might say, well, I would call that glazes. It's several, yeah, okay, whatever. But I call it one glaze, many colors, okay? But I don't want you to think just because I'm using the singular glaze that you're not allowed, or elude, either one, you're not allowed to use as many colors as you want in this glaze. Now the fun part of the reason I enjoy this so much is just simply doing what I have just done right there has made this painting so much richer in color. Again, because transparent colors are richer than opaque ones. But, let's play around with this just a little more. I'm going to do several things. Again, I think I'm going to just drop those brushes there and pick up a rag. The yellow, gold, orange, deep yellow that I did up here is nice, but too much of a good thing. So not so nice. So now I'm going to come in and paint with a rag. I use this terminology all the time with my students, yet I see many students having a hard time grasping the concept of painting with a rag, because they will pick up a rag and begin just scrubbing like blah, 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 blah. And that's not painting. That's erasing. No, you don't erase. So I'm being very delicate. I'm being very intentional. I'm taking off a little bit and then looking, taking off a little bit more and then looking. Okay, that's what I mean by painting with a rag. You don't just turn your brain off and start wiping. No. And of course, you want to make pleasant marks, just like you do with a brush. You want to make pleasant marks with the rag as well. Okay, I am liking this quite well. Early, before I did this, my lightest whites up here were a little too close to titanium white. They were a little bit too cool, but now, of course, because I've had that glaze put on them, they're all warmer, and the whole painting is just behaving better than it did a few minutes ago. Lightening that spot. And the effect that this is having on my painting is quite typical. The painting is suddenly has just a little bit more contrast than it did just a few minutes ago. And you see how long this is. How long have you been going? 5 minutes? Not even 5 minutes. And so the darks are ever so slightly darker, and the lights, they're actually darker too, but they're not as dark, as much darker. So the lights appear lighter and the darks darker, which usually in a painting is a good thing. You know, usually if you could take a picture of most of your paintings, most of my paintings, put them on your camera on Photoshop or on your camera and edit them, and you bump the contrast just a little bit, usually the painting gets better. And in a sense, that's what I'm doing here. Of course, not on a computer, doing it old-fashioned with glaze. And I could stop right there, and I might stop right there, but I'm looking and thinking. And I don't do this very often. Small brush, permanent rose. I'm thinking that some of this red down here would look good if we're just a little cooler. So permanent rose is a very purple-ish, magenta-ish, side of the color wheel. Side of red, it's a cool red, and I'm thinking that red would look a little better. And it does. I'm going to push it even a little bit further and pick up some violet and come in here. I actually want to push, again, this is a little bit unusual for me to do any kind of glazing with a brush this small. But for some reason, I just find myself in the mood, shall we say, to just darken, yeah, even a little more. I'm surprising myself. And of course, the nice part about working on a dry painting is that you, at any point, you can take a rag and lift, clean up a little bit. I think that's good. Same thing over here, a little bit of purple and permanent rose on my brush there. Okay, now, at this point, I can either say, yep, I'm done, or most often, I will see a spot here or there, I think I can use the same brush, that I want to come in and add just a tiny bit of light most of the time. And indeed, very little on this painting, very little, but I do see on this wall down here an area that could use a little more variety of tone. It's a little bit flat. That is to say that my light colors, all of my lights in this wall, they all top out at about a number 3. Let's call this a number 3 value, and that's it. They all stop. Well, right there, I've just placed a number 2 value, and all of a sudden, whoop, that's a little bit too bright. That's a number 1, and I don't want it. I don't want this to stand out quite that much. But even the ledge, the I don't know what you call this, sure, ledge, along here, see, it's all the same color. If I just come in here and hit a few spots, just kiss it, barely touch it. Oh, what a difference that made. Oh my goodness, sometimes the tiniest little things. And while I'm at it, let me do some reflections of those light spots in the water. Smear those just a little bit. Again, don't worry about my fingers too much. I have no toxic paints on my palette. That allows me to feel pretty free. Okay? Now I'm living dangerously. Because, hang on just a second, let me find a palette knife. Here we go. I'm feeling like I've got one light colored rope line right here, and I feel like I would like one more. Yes, sirree. That did it. That just did it. A little bit of light there. Whoops, I'm sorry, I was off camera. I just put a white line right there. Let me point out something, a compositional issue that I didn't talk about. I thought about it when I was doing the painting and then never mentioned it. And I don't have this photograph near me, or I would show you the photograph. Please understand that most of the lighting in this, essentially all the lighting in this painting is manufactured. It's made up. It's not in the original photograph. So all this drama down here, up here, I should say, all this drama, now that I pointed at that drama, I just realized, you know what, I would like it. Same thing, a little bit more light, right up, just a little bit up here in the sky. Oh, it irritates me to paint with one hand, it really does. After just a few minutes, I just start getting stir crazy. Funny, huh? 10 years ago or 12 years ago, I couldn't do anything with my left hand. Now if I paint too much with my right hand, I just start having little seizures. Okay, I think that's good enough. Okay, I was going to point out to you, let me get some clean brushes to do this with. All the light is manufactured, but there are a few very specific play of light things that I'm doing here that really help to make the painting successful. And it is an angle, so the sun is exactly that way, and there are 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, now with that rope 4, very subtle angles. Let me show you where they are. First of all, the biggest one by far is on the side of this box. I have no idea what this box is, but it was in the photograph. It's just a hunk of debris. And this shadow right here is completely manufactured. This angle, however, is very important. And we get the feeling, even though it may not line up perfectly, our brain doesn't even mind that. We get the feeling, don't we, that this is a shadow of this ship. We do. And that's not the only place that angle shows up. It also shows up right here. It's a little bit more fuzzy, but it's the same angle. Get it? Same angle. Same angle. And then here on this ladder, or whatever this, what do you call that? I'm drawing a blank again. You know, one of those wooden ladder things. That's so funny. Even though it's subtle, there, and there, same angle. And maybe here, and then even this rope's in sunshine, it goes into shade. So this angle appears just a few times, just enough that it really gives the viewer a sense of, whew, I know exactly where the sun is, and those shadows make me feel good. Okay, so and again, that's all made up. It's just partly just experience, I guess, of knowing when to do things like that to help the viewer get a little bit of a sense, stronger sense of play of light in this scene. Now I'm just playing around. I think I'm gonna call that quits. I will post this finished painting on my website. Well, no, not on my website. Maybe I will, but on my YouTube channel, so that you can get a good look at the still finished process. Okay. Hope that's helpful, especially you students who are maybe following me a little bit. It's always great fun, and you can see, even with all my talking, it didn't take very long at all.